Hello, this is Julie Greenhalgh. I'm the author of 4 books called The Empathisers, the first one of which is called Ginja. Here's Ginja. Now, the Empathisers are friendly and cuddly creatures who understand how you are feeling and can help you with any problems you may have. Only certain children can see Empathisers, but the creatures are totally invisible to adults. In this book, an empathiser called Ginja helped Jenny to settle into her new school. Now here's Jenny on the first page. There she is. So Jenny decided to take the shortcut home through the woods to avoid the bullies, Gripper and Biffy. It was a nice warm afternoon and the autumn leaves had created a multicoloured carpet amongst the trees. Jenny had started at her new school a few weeks earlier. She had missed the start of term, so everyone had already paired up and made friends. She had felt very much like a foreigner on her first day, when everybody had stared at her, sitting in the comfort of their own relatively new friendship groups. She was shy and didn't want to push her way in, and she just felt like an outsider who didn't fit in. Jenny was pushing her way through swathes of gold and orange and brown leaves in the woods, when suddenly she thought she saw a pair of brown eyes peeping up at her from a slightly larger than usual pile of leaves. There you can see the eyes peeping at her. "Oh, what's that?" she said, wondering if it could be a puppy or a kitten who had lost their way in the woods. A little nose twitched and shook off its mantle of autumnal adornments to reveal gingery whiskers and a furry coat, which was completed by a bushy tail. The creature looked a bit like a cat, but also a bit like a monkey. Look, there you can see Ginja popping his head out of his pile of leaves. "Who are you?" asked Jenny, not really expecting an answer, as she knew that cats, dogs and monkeys didn't usually speak like we do. "My name is Ginja," announced the creature. "Can you pick me up, please?" Jenny was so amazed that she did exactly what she was asked to do, without even considering whether it would be a good idea or not. Ginja stepped delicately onto her proffered hand, and then nimbly up onto her shoulder, wrapping its tail round Jenny's neck. It felt very warm and cosy and quite comforting. And the creature's fur flowed like a ginger river over Jenny's shoulders, contrasting with her own dark hair. Look, there you can see a picture of Jenny with Ginja on her shoulder, the tail wrapped around her neck. "Where have you come from?" asked Jenny. "I was just waiting for you," said the creature. "But I've never seen you before, and I don't even know what kind of creature you are," exclaimed Jenny. "I'm an empathiser," announced Ginja firmly, as though that explained everything. "What's an empathiser?" asked Jenny. "One who empathises," said Ginja. "What does that mean?" said Jenny. "Someone who understands everything about you and knows how you are feeling," Ginja continued. "You are very lucky that you have been chosen. There are not many of us around," Ginja pronounced. "But how did you choose me?" asked Jenny. "We've been watching you from up in the clouds, and someone told us you were unhappy," said Ginja. "Do you know what happened to my mum?" asked Jenny. "Yes, she told us about you, but you weren't ready until you moved to this school," continued Ginja. "We can talk to human angels, and they help us to find people who need us." "Can I talk to Mum now?" asked Jenny hopefully. "Unfortunately not, but she's very happy up in heaven, and she's looking down on you all the time. She told us you might need a little bit of help when you move to your new school, which is why we've been looking for a chance to talk to you," explained Ginja. There's Ginja up in the cloud talking to Jenny's mum. By the way, she looks even lovelier now that she has grown her new wings, and she will be able to send you messages to show that she is looking over you. Every time you see a butterfly, or a bird overhead, or a rainbow in the sky, that's when your mum is close by. Most humans don't even notice these special signs, but if you look out for them, you'll know. Jenny's mum had died from cancer nearly 2 years ago, so she had just been with her dad ever since. Recently, he had got a new job, which meant that they had to move to another part of the country, leaving friends and relatives behind. Jenny's dad's job meant they had more money, but Jenny missed her friends and her family and hadn't really settled yet at her new school. "Have you seen the bullies?" asked Jenny, biting her bottom lip. "Yes, they stole your sandwiches," said Ginja, sounding affronted on her behalf. "Dad's giving me boring sandwiches now because they don't like those," said Jenny. "He used to give me coronation chicken or tuna mayonnaise, but I just get ham now. Gripper and Biffy don't know I have some Branston pickle in a little twist of silver foil at the bottom of my school bag. I squeeze it on when I'm in the dining hall, so they don't see that," she said with an impudent smile. "Good," said Ginja. "What did they say when you first had ham?" "They said, 'boring,' and chucked them back at me," said Jenny. Ginja seemed to be chuckling, and the furry creature squeezed its tail a little bit closer round her neck. "Can I take you home and show you to my dad?" asked Jenny. "You can take me home, but he won't see me," said Ginja. "No one can see me unless I want them to." "Why not?" said Jenny. "It's better that way," said Ginja evasively. "Let's go home now," she said, setting off enthusiastically. "Yes, we better had," Ginja agreed. "It looks like rain." Jenny realised Ginja was right. While they had been talking, the clouds had rolled in, and a few drops of rain were already starting to fall. Jenny started to jog slowly along, not wanting to dislodge her precious new friend, who was still perched on her shoulder, tail firmly wrapped round her neck. It was only about 10 minutes before they reached the house, but they were both rather soggy by the time they got there. Jenny carefully dried Ginja's fur with the small hand towel which she retrieved from the downstairs bathroom. Then she encouraged Ginja to scamper upstairs to her bedroom. She found an old doll's cot at the bottom of her wardrobe and made it comfy for Ginja, with a blanket and a cushion. "Oh, thank you, that's lovely," said Ginja, snuggling up. "I don't even know if you're a boy or a girl," Jenny said thoughtfully. "I'm neither. I'm just an empathiser," Ginja replied. "But how do you have babies then?" asked Jenny. "A baby bud just grows in my pouch when the time is right," Ginja explained. "And it's not my time at the moment. The baby grows in my pouch until it's ready to learn how to be a fully grown empathiser." "And what do you eat?" inquired Jenny. "Just cat biscuits would be fine, and occasionally a little bit of fish," said Ginja. "And to drink?" she asked. "Just water, thanks," replied Ginja. Jenny pottered around, opening a tin of salmon for her new friend and pouring out a glass of water. "You're so kind," Ginja praised. "Thank you so much for looking after me." "That's what friends are for," said Jenny, giving her new friend a cuddle. Later on, Jenny's dad came home from work, and they had fish fingers, chips, and baked beans for tea. There they are, having their tea. There we go. Ginja perched on the curtain pole in the dining room, delicately washing his whiskers. Jenny watched carefully to see whether her dad noticed her new friend, but he seemed totally oblivious to Ginja's presence. "I've got to see your teacher after school tomorrow for your parent-teacher evening," her dad announced. "Should I mention those bullies who stole your sandwiches?" "Yes, please," Jenny smiled, "although it hasn't been so bad since I changed to ham." Over the next few days, Jenny got used to having Ginja with her at all times, perched on her shoulder and keeping her company. but nobody else noticed her new friend. At night, Ginja snuggled up in the doll's cot. There he is, in the doll's cot. And he seemed quite happy with a diet of cat biscuits, fish, and water. Her dad told Jenny that her teacher said she was working hard at school, but she needed to make friends and settle in a bit better. The teacher told him that someone new was starting in a few days who was about the same age as Jenny. A few days later, Jenny was walking home through the woods again when the bullies decided to follow her. "Have you got any sweets for us?" growled Gripper, trying to grab Jenny's bag. "No!" shouted Jenny. Ginja immediately appeared to Gripper and Biffy and started hissing and spitting at them. They leapt back in fear, saying, "Is that your cat? You should keep it under control." "It's a wild animal," said Jenny. "You better not annoy it, or it will attack." "I'm off," said Gripper. Then Biffy muttered, "We'll report you," before the pair of them scuttled off. Jenny knew they wouldn't report her because they wouldn't want to look stupid. She and Ginja ran off home giggling. "Wow, I didn't know you could do that," said Jenny. "I just save my appearances for special occasions when I'm needed most," explained Ginja. "I don't think they'll be bothering you again anytime soon." A few days later, a new girl called Kirsty started at the school. Ginja whispered in Jenny's ear, "Do you remember how you felt when you started? Why don't you make her feel welcome?" Jenny smiled at Kirsty and pointed to the seat nearby. Then at lunchtime, she suggested that they had their sandwiches together. Kirsty was very happy to agree, and the two girls became instant friends. Jenny thought very carefully about how she would have liked to have been treated at school when she first started. Then she helped Kirsty to settle in accordingly. A few weeks later, Jenny's dad told her that her teacher had introduced him to a friend of hers, Beth, who was divorced and who had a little boy called Harrison. "Can I introduce you to them?" asked Jenny's dad. "Of course," said Jenny. "And can I have my friend Kirsty round to play too?" "Oh, that would be nice," said her dad. So they had a lovely day on Saturday afternoon, with Beth showing Jenny and Kirsty how to paint their nails and how to put their hair up with pretty slides. And they all enjoyed helping Harrison, or Harry as he was known, to toddle round the garden and taught him how to build sandcastles. Harry was just learning how to speak, so the girls were teaching him how to say a few words. Suddenly, Harry pointed to Jenny and said, "Ginja." Beth said, No, Harry, that's Jenny." But Harry kept saying, "Ginja." And Jenny and Kirsty decided to go and play upstairs for a little while. When they reached Jenny's bedroom, Jenny told Kirsty all about Ginja and showed her the bed in the corner of the room. "But how come Harry can see Ginja but I can't?" asked Kirsty. In a sprinkling of stardust, Ginja flicked their bushy tail and the fluffy creature appeared for Kirsty for a few minutes. "Empathisers have to be careful about who they appear to," Ginja whispered to the girls. "If scientists got to hear about us, they would want to poke us and prod us and keep us in cages so we don't let adults see us ever." "But how come Harry can see you?" asked Jenny. Young children and babies can often see us, but they lose that ability when they turn about 2 years old and they can talk. So we're not so careful around them. Harry must have heard me whispering to you earlier." "That must have been when he heard your name," said Jenny. "You'd better be careful in future. That little boy is as bright as a button, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he might end up being your new little brother. It looks like your dad is getting on very well with Beth," said Ginja. "Oh, do you think they might get married?" Kirsty questioned. And we could be their bridesmaids, Jenny exclaimed. So the rest of the afternoon was spent giggling and trying on dresses and thinking about how they would have their hair for the potential wedding. And everyone had gone home, and Ginja was tucked up in the cot for the night. Just before Jenny switched the light out, Ginja asked if they could speak to her. Of course, said Jenny. What's the matter? I have to go back to my cloud soon, Ginja explained. Why, said Jenny with tears in her eyes. Is it because Harry saw you? No, nothing like that, explained Ginja. It's just that you have learned everything so well that I have been teaching you, that you don't need me anymore. There are lots of boys and girls that need me now. But I will be unhappy without you, started Jenny. No, you won't, said Ginja. You've got a lovely new friend, and it looks like you will have a new stepmom and a new baby brother soon. So you've got lots to look forward to. And I've got a new baby bud to look after too, said Ginja proudly, showing Jenny a little turquoise fur ball in the pouch. I will train it to help other children to empathise with their friends too. Wow, that's amazing, said Jenny. She glanced out of the window as a shooting star appeared in the sky. And that's your mum saying how happy she is about how things are going. She's really pleased to see that you can be an empathiser too, and she knows that everything in your life will be wonderful from now on. When Jenny woke up in the morning, Ginja had disappeared. But Jenny knew that the fluffy little creature would be up on the cloud, looking out for the next child to help, and she smiled. The following year, as Ginja predicted, Jenny's dad asked Beth to marry him, and Jenny and Kirsty got to be bridesmaids at their wedding. And there they are, all dressed up as bridesmaids. Jenny loved her new brother, and when he turned 3 years old, she bought him a cuddly toy with ginger fur, which he immediately called Ginja. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Right, how do I press stop? There we go.